Hi there guys, I hope you are having a good day. So we have a few things to go through this morning, so if you want to skip to wherever you want to go to, I will leave the timestamps in and you can go and view whatever you're interested in, whether it's Andrade versus Williams, whether it's Jake Paul, should we talk about that? There is also Tyson Fury linking up with his trainer, Sugar Hill, and Frank Warren also said something about a site deal and he has gone over that. And he is optimistic about Joe Joyce versus Alexander Usyk for the WBO interim world title after they stalled those kind of negotiations because of AJ versus Fury, but hopefully they look to start that up again and get that fight made, so he's optimistic for both of them. Now, let's start with Tyson Fury linking up with his trainer Sugar Hill in the US. Now, of course Tyson Fury was seen at some kind of event with Andy Ruiz Jr. where they were talking about their inspirational stories, and we knew that Tyson Fury did go over to the US to talk to Bob Arum about these site deals. Now obviously he will also be linking up with his trainer Sugar Hill. Now I was wondering about Tyson Fury's training setup because he was training primarily in the UK with Andy Lee, Joe Parker, Isaac Lowe and Ty Mitchell. He had a good bunch around him, but Sugar Hill was absent from that setup. So the question was, will Sugar Hill come over to the UK or will Tyson Fury go over to the US? Now we have that confirmed. But what about Andy Lee? Because he was a big part of the setup for Tyson Fury in the second Deontay Wilder fight. But it does not look like he will be a part of this training camp for Anthony Joshua because he has his commitments elsewhere now with Joseph Parker getting him ready for May 1st against Derek Chisora. Now that is fast approaching, so perhaps he could get that fight done, then go and join Tyson Fury and Sugar Hill in the US. I think he is a valuable member to Tyson Fury's team, but still, at the moment, his commitment lies with Joseph Parker. That is very important to him. And I think that this relationship is going to do Joe Parker good, it's going to do Andy Lee good as well. Joseph Parker needed a new trainer who could bring different things out of him, and Andy Lee, as a trainer, needed someone like Joseph Parker who he could get to work with. Now, Tyson Fury spoke about how easy he believes it will be to beat Anthony Joshua. He said, it's not going to be all that difficult. He doesn't have the biggest heart. He believes that when he hits Anthony Joshua, it will be over very quickly. So he thinks it's going to be quite straightforward in getting the victory over AJ. Now, I'm not believing that he thinks it's going to be that easy. He's just saying that. I mean, of course he believes he's going to win, otherwise he would not be taking the fight. But both fighters know they are in there with a top level operator, and no corner can be cut in preparations for this contest. Both of them will bring their A game, anything less will not be enough. It is great that Frank Warren has stated that he's had positive talks about the site deal. I mean, we've heard that from all parties now. I mean, everyone's saying that, so everyone is on the same page, and it seems like that fight is really moving forwards. An announcement is undoubtedly imminent for that fight. And Alexander Usyk versus Joe Joyce will probably get over the line as soon as that fight is made as well. So that makes it better for Usyk and Joe Joyce because they are kind of just waiting on this undisputed fight at the moment. So not the best for them, but still, they will have their fight and everything will be sorted very soon. And Frank Warren said that talks are currently paused, but I'm guessing they will resume quite quickly as soon as this is confirmed. Frank Warren has actually done quite well recently because he got Daniel Dubois a very good fight against Bogdan Dino. I done a video about it yesterday and we spoke about the fact that it might be too soon, him getting a good ranking. I mean, Bogdan Dino is not too soon for Daniel Dubois, but moving up that quickly back to perhaps a number 2, becoming a WBA interim world champion. Maybe that's too soon because of the fights that could come after Bogdan Dino and he needs to rebuild, but it has been confirmed that he will fight Bogdan Dino for the interim status and perhaps the number 2 spot, and that is to become mandatory to WBA regular champion Trevor Bryan. So that is a bit of good business from Frank Warren because Bogdan Dino, then Trevor Bryan, 2 good fights for Daniel Dubois and ones I believe he can definitely win. So coming off of a loss against Joe Joyce, he gets an interim WBA world title fight, moving up the rankings, becoming mandatory to Trevor Bryan, and if he wins against Bogdan Dino, he gets a world title opportunity. I know it's the regular belt, but still, for Daniel Dubois, that's great. And it just shows that there is nothing wrong with taking that risk like Daniel Dubois did against Joe Joyce. Now, let's move on to Liam Williams versus Demetrius Andrade. Good fight, entertaining at times. I mean, it did get a bit ragged at times, but then that can be expected with the clash of styles. Liam Williams said he wanted to set a pace and prove he had the engine to push Andrade, and that Andrade's silky boxing skills would not be enough because of his engine, and that is exactly what he needed to do. But I kind of felt like he was defending with his head quite a bit, and he did get hit a lot, but he did drag Andrade into a fight, and Andrade was in a position where he didn't really want to be. I mean, Andrade is a skillful boxer, but there are certain things there where you can see vulnerabilities. He's a very good boxer, and it's great to watch him at times. I mean, when he's on it, he's on it. But I felt like what Andrade wanted to do, particularly in this fight, is establish something early, maybe stop him. I mean, he did get him dropped in that second round, but it just seemed like he wanted to step on it. He wanted to show his superiority as a boxer, then kind of just settle into the fight. But Liam Williams was never going to allow him to do that. So therefore Andrade got dragged into a fight that he didn't believe he was going to be having because he thought he was levels above Liam Williams. But still, nonetheless, at 30-0, it was a good win. Liam Williams is no walkover job. I just think that he's shown certain vulnerabilities in there that other fighters will think, you know what, I can exploit that. But still, the big fights that don't seem to really happen for Andrade, the Charlos and fights like that, those are the fights that he needs to be in. Those are the career-defining fights, so that is important for Andrade going forwards from this point. Now, let's talk about Jake Paul and Ben Askren. And I don't really want to talk too long about this because, if I'm honest, I'm not really interested in it. But anyway, Jake Paul stopped him in the first round. It was just like a shot down the pipe, and Ben Askren probably didn't see it. I mean, we said in the build-up, Ben Askren is not the best striker, so if it was a wrestling match, Ben Askren would win, but a boxing match, Askren isn't going to have much chance because, as I said, he's not really a puncher, is he? Plus, I feel like he was just there really to collect a pay package. I mean, I've seen him in fights before where he's taken a lot more than just one shot down the pipe and continued going. So, I mean, maybe he just wasn't in it. I mean, you saw the shape he was in. That's not everything, but perhaps he just thought it was a walkover job. He's a real fighter, Jake Paul isn't in his opinion. So therefore, it was going to be light work for him. But yeah, that did not work out at all well for him. And I guess Jake Paul just moves on. I don't know if he's actually going to fight a real boxer next time because he's gone from a YouTuber like himself to a real sports person, and then he's gone to a real fighter, but a wrestler, MMA fighter, not really a boxer. So perhaps he will build up and fight a boxer next. Tommy Fury could be an interesting fight. Tyson Fury expressed that he thinks Jake Paul is doing good for boxing, and clearly Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury would have some intrigue in it. Perhaps that could be the big fight for Jake Paul. Whether he wants to take it or not is another thing entirely. But anyway, guys, what are your thoughts on this? Pick your favourite subject and leave your thoughts on it in the comments below. Also leave a like and grab that subscribe button. Thanks guys.